So hey black women, good morning. Okay, so this video is inspired by me listening to a live today, right? This morning as I was walking Naya, and the desperation and the sadness and I guess like borderline depression of a young mother. Over there, Naya. It's not many ways to say this to y'all, right? Besides the brutal, honest truth, okay? You got to stop being weak as young girls. And you have to do the things that you find incredibly hard, especially when it comes to these black males and these dudes that you're in. Well, I'm only talking about black males because they're the problem when it comes to black women, right? You have to stop altogether, okay? Trying to care about how they feel, trying to become who they tell you you're supposed to be. You have to stop that. That is the root of all your problems. You have to understand that you are dealing with a group of individuals who are not men, and the only way that they think they know how to be men is to make you feel humiliated, to dehumanize you, devalue you, and make you feel like shit, to the point where you allow anything to happen to yourself because you don't care about yourself. You need to seriously understand that. So as I was listening to this live, this young woman was crying. She had a baby. She's feeling depressed, right? Because she's probably in an abusive situation. She's ashamed to say, right? And she came on and she was speaking about, in tears, how she doesn't feel like she's allowed to be herself, and that she can't be sexually expressive without being shamed, called a horror slut, etc. Now, unfortunately, these are the situations you put yourself into, especially when you're out here thinking that older women are your enemy, and you're listening to all these younger women with these lives where they're trying to be, I gotta find the right terms, but they're trying to be flamboyant, they're trying to be engaging. Basically, they're just trying to be, in other words, like the ringmaster of a circus. So they're trying to keep everybody in their seats so that they can perform as well as they can to keep people entertained, to keep their source of entertainment going as long as it can, right? They're not really concerned about people who are coming on, spilling their lives out and going through these things. Because what I've noticed is that they give the basic information. They don't go into real resources. They don't literally tell the women, like, honestly, the truth repeatedly. Because if you tell somebody the truth repeatedly, it's gonna sink in. And the bottom line is, if you are pregnant or you're in a relationship with somebody, they're beating on you and they're making your life a living hell, the message to you should be, leave that motherfucker, regardless if you have money or not. Get the fuck away from him, you and your children. And what you need to start doing is Googling all types of organizations that provide escape money for women in domestic violence. There is a very big website, a big organization called finability.org. So you would Google www.finability.org. Finability.org. It is an abbreviation for financialability.org. When you Google that website, you can also put, without the www, finability.org and others like this in your search, so that every other organization throughout the country that offers emergency escape money for women in domestic violence situations, you could become aware of. These organizations a lot of times work hand in hand with the National Domestic Violence Hotline to help with relocation, to help with services, to help with everything you need to get you on your feet independently. You hear the word I said? To help you get on your feet independently in another state or wherever it is you like to be. I think that another website would be good for you guys to go on would be USA.gov. And this is a website where not only can you look for relocation information, job information, healthcare information, it is the federal website for every state in this country's Department of Social Services. That way you can find out everything you need, right, in order to move to another state or to get away from violence in your home. You come online and you listen to these dudes all day talk about how they want to control women, and if women are not allowing them to do that, then they get violent, right? So the way you deal with that is you avoid that, eliminate that from your life. Eliminate it. You gotta get past the religious beliefs, the cultural beliefs, in feeling like you are not a whole woman if you're not in a relationship with a dude and you're popping out 1,000 children. That is not the definition of a woman. That is the process capitalism uses to keep you enslaved to a system where men benefit from you, both locally, where you live, and the ones in corporate and that run this society. As long as you are being oppressed and suppressed, they reap the benefits of your suffering. And you have to get to the point where you stop listening to dudes talking to you about how slick your mouth is, you not being independent, you being treated like a child in a situation with a dude who's controlling you like he's your parent. And the reason they want this type of behavior is because when they're on here idolizing their grandfathers and great-grandfathers, you got to really remember all those dudes were pedophiles. They were 30, 40-something-year-old men married to 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 15-year-old little girls. Do you not understand me? So whenever you hear them on here talking about how you're difficult and they need to be able to control you to be with you, it's somebody you should never ever think about being bothered with. Never. And you don't let, when they say things like that, creep into your mind and turn you into somebody that has a low self-esteem and that does not like themselves. You are great just like you are. And all that talk about lashes, wigs and weaves, makeup, the clothes you wear, how provocative you want to be, that is not their business. They don't get to say how you choose to live your life in this world. They're not your God. And as soon as you learn to stand up against all of that and make your own decisions in this world about how you're going to live and who you will allow around you, is the only time that you're going to break out of all of these situations of depression, suppression, violence, control, and degradation and dehumanization. If you don't love yourself and realize that you are enough without them and that you don't need to fit into no mold of being somebody's woman, mama, or wife, you're never going to have a happy life or a happy existence. As far as the mental health services are concerned, most times when you look on the back of your health insurance card, there's going to be an 800 number about mental health services, right? You can call that number and you can ask them about therapy. You can ask them about any type of mental health service you might need, right? Also, you could call customer service to find out if you have an health insurance that is covered by Medicaid, right? You could get in-home services like a doula. If you're pregnant, you could get midwifery services. You could also ask them what type of, what do they call them? In-home nurse services. Like sometimes you could get people to help you. Like if you need a night nurse, if you had a newborn baby, sometimes you could get a service from your health insurance where you get an aide to come into your house to help you with the baby at night so you could sleep. Help you with the baby in the daytime so you could rest. And they also have wet nurses that can help you develop your breast milk, take care of your breasts after your breasts are sore or the baby bites you, or you're having a problem developing milk or whatever the issue is. You call your health insurance, right? the customer service hotline, and you find out from them what services they offer you as far as in-home services are concerned for assistance with yourself and your baby. You'd be surprised all the stuff they have. I had a surgery, right? And I had no idea that my insurance covered in-home therapy, right? Physical therapy. So my doctor had said to me, because I never even would have thought about it. He said, Stephanie, call the customer service hotline and find out if your insurance covers the in-home therapy. He said, sometimes it's a small copay, but it wasn't. It was absolutely free. And they sent the equipment to my house, right? The machines that I would have to use to stretch my limbs after my surgery, right? And another machine to help strengthen the limb after it was recovering. So the machinery came first. Sorry, Nai. I didn't know you was going to the bathroom. Sorry. So the machinery came first. And then I got a call from the agency trying to set up a schedule with me for the therapist to come and work my body out with the machines. Now, all of this was on loan, right? So as soon as, I got to the point where I could physically go outside, of course, I went to the physical therapy location. But I'm telling you this story to let you know that there are so many different resources out here for you, both in your community and through your health insurance that you might not be aware of that you need to look into. The other thing is when you have mediation services in your community, you can call them and ask them what other services do they provide for the community, and if they could refer you to another organization that may provide whatever it is, right? Like I used to have a problem with childcare because I was a police officer, so I needed somebody to work like all types of hours in case I was given overtime or I had to work another shift. So I found a domestic agency, which literally is what it sounds like. This particular place was not like a nanny service, but it literally sent people to watch your kids, clean your house, cook your food, right? Walk your children to school safely, get them home safely, stay with them until you get home. So I found all of that stuff through my local councilman's office. And when I found one, I did the same thing, except for back when my kids were little, we didn't have Google. We had the yellow pages and the white pages. So when I found out the name of one organization, I'll never forget it. To this day, in New York City, the domestic agency was called Gloria's Domestic Agency, right? I called her up. I became a client. You have to pay them weekly. Well, back then, hey Lester, I had to pay them weekly, right? But whenever I needed somebody, they sent me multiple people 24 hours a day if I needed them. So I'm just telling you the story so that you can understand that there's so many ways for you to get help and resources. Also, don't sleep on Catholic charities in your community. Catholic charities will help you with everything from eviction prevention to like some of the old people that go to church and they're lonely. They don't really have a lot going on in their life, so they'll watch children. Let's say if some of them are in a financial situation, they have the people that will be willing to allow someone to move in with them to help them pay their mortgage. It's a lot of things out there. So Catholic charities, mediation services in your community. I'm trying to think who else. Like a major, some of the foster care agencies have different services for the community you could tap into as well. So you can look into that, right? If that's not something you like, there is also, you can go to the library and ask the librarian to try to help you with different organizations in your community that offer particular services. It's a lot of stuff in your communities that you don't know about. And until like you get out there and you start looking for these things, you can feel, because I felt like this too, like shit is hopeless and you're helpless. But that's not the case, okay? You have to just keep looking. You can't give up on yourself, and you got to stop letting these loser ass dudes define who you are and who you're supposed to be. A lot of times, right, you'll hear all these people, good morning, you'll hear all these people telling you who and what a woman is supposed to be, how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to speak, how you're supposed to talk, how you're supposed to behave. All of that is bullshit. And it's a form of slavery, a form of ultimate control. And the only people who need control over other people are weak, pathetic individuals who have no belief in themselves, have nothing going on for themselves, and they need to control other people to feel like they're somebody. So I hope in saying all of this, some of this will rub off on you, and you will actually change the way you address things, deal with things, handle things, and most importantly, see things. Because until you do that mentally, there's going to be no other change in your life. Like, how are you going to get away from people doing terrible things to you if you don't see what they're doing as a problem? You understand? That woman that called initially on that live crying about her situation, until she sees that where she's at is a problem and that she needs to get away from it completely, and that man is the root of her problem, until she fully accepts that, she's always going to be sad, she's always going to have a problem, and she's always going to be in a situation of depression and having issues because she has not left that dude. And she has not developed the strength in herself to just stop being in need of somebody else to be who she thinks she is. All right? So please stop letting these dudes fuck with your head and make you feel like you're nobody if you don't have them around you. Start living a life where you completely ignore them and don't have shit to do with them, so that you find yourself and actually get to live life the way you're supposed to and happily, okay? Because fucking with them is only going to keep you and your children miserable. They don't want anything in this world but to be in a position to make women miserable and have them do whatever they want whenever they say it. Don't live like that. Because believe me, you were not born in this world to be nobody's fucking servant. Have a good day.